I'm Justin. Welcome to Cashman's Garage. Today, we're going to be working on this '06 Saab 9.3 Aero. And today, we're going to be replacing the wiper transmission. So the problem that we're having is one of the wipers moves back and forth while the other sits limp. So this should fix that problem. I've done some repairs on these in the past, and most of the time they're a little bit janky. So I usually recommend, instead of replacing just one of these bushings, do the whole wiper transmission, because when one's going, the other's about to go too. So let's get started. So you see, our first step, we need to pop the hood. I like to take an air gun, blow out all our channels here, and we're going to need to remove the wipers. Now, looks like we got a little cap cover here. We're going to take a screwdriver, pop this out. Seem to be missing one on this side, so we just got our 13mm nut. So we're going to take those out and go from there. So now that we got the caps off as well as our 13mm nuts, we're ready to take our wiper arms off, which will give us a little better access to take out our little panel here, as well as our rubber gasket that goes across. So I like to take a little marker and mark where our wipers should be aligned. Now you see this one here is kind of flopping around. That is because of our broken wiper transmission. So ideally I would want it right about here. This is just going to give us some guidelines, and there are a few other points in this process that I would recommend having some paint. So I am going to take these arms off. A small 2-jaw puller or a wiper arm puller might be necessary. Either way, these are coming off. And just like that, nothing to it. So I didn't end up needing the puller. When you lift the wiper arm up, gives you a little room to kind of jog it around. Both sides came off nice and easy. So the next step is we have a couple clips, and we got a rubber gasket here. So use a little panel tool like this. You can pop our little pop rivets out, and then this guy here just pulls out real easy. So put that side somewhere safe. Make sure you don't mix up your two wipers. I like to put them on the side that they go off or come on. And from this point, we're just wiggling free our little shield here. So a little tough to do one-handed, but just a little patience, a little jostling around. This will come right off. And that's going to expose our wiper transmission and our wiper motor. There you have it. So now here, with everything exposed, we're going to want to remove this whole assembly with our motor. Now the reason for this is I like to take everything apart here and actually mark it so that all the new stuff goes back in exactly the same way the old stuff came out. So we're going to go through here. We got one bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, and then one hidden guy right up here in the corner. When we take all 4 of those out, that should release our wiper transmission. We should be able to yank it out, but it's still going to leave us attached to the wiper motor itself. And this way we can mark everything before we put the new stuff back together. Now, if your links are hanging off, you can just pop them back on. This way you know the position that everything was in. Mark accordingly. And take this thing out. So as you can see here, I aligned our new one exactly the same way our old one was lined up. Try to keep that lined up the best you can. Then you're going to have these 2 bolts here. You're going to transfer these, toss out the old transmission, pop on the new stuff, and make sure that you notice your clock position here. That's going to be really important so these wipers aren't smacking each other around. So we want to do direct transfer, take that motor that we have underneath there, and put it on this guy exactly the way you see it. And I guess you could remove this little connector here. You don't really have to. You could do it right here on top of the car. But there really shouldn't be a whole lot to it. Again, just, take that paint marker and mark everything if you're unsure about getting this thing back together. So I'm going to make this transfer, and we're going to go from there. I did forget to mention one thing. There is a nut that hooks up the center of our motor. This is the guy that spins. in my circumstance, you couldn't really see it from the top here, but you do want to remove that 12 millimeter. And for note, these were all 10 millimeters to get this transmission off. So we're going to swap this over and go from there. Just like that, we have our busted arm off. And everything new and back together here. Make sure you tighten up these guys first. Make sure you get this one nice and tight as well, because if you don't, neither of your wipers are going to be working. And at this point, we're going to pretty much just do the reverse order of how we took this thing off. So, like from the manufacturer, we had some little caps here we can take off. We're going to slide this thing under. Make sure you get your 2 bolts here, and then the other 2 that are down here. And before I like to put the shroud on, I like to do like a little test run to make sure everything is in order, because there is a chance that we may have to do a little bit of adjusting here. But remember, we set this up exactly how it came out, so in theory we should be good to go. Alright, everything is tightened up, good to go, except we don't have our cover on quite yet. Now the reason for this is I don't feel like pulling it back off if I need to do any adjustment. So, again, we're making sure that we're in our starting position. We're going to tighten these up just enough, you know, get them snug. I found that you might have to push down here on the wiper to get that thing fully tight. And you may want to mark them afterwards or mark them as you're adjusting. But like I said, we were very careful. So we're going to come in here, we're going to hit this, and we have 2 working wiper blades. So I'm going to call this a mission success for today. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to have more videos to come, but that's how you get her knocked out. Have a good one. Catch you on the next one.